You let your guinea pig out onto the living room floor for exercise time, the same room you sit in every single day. Somewhere in that room right now, there is very likely something that could genuinely hurt it, sitting in plain sight, and you have probably walked past it 100 times without once seeing it the way a guinea pig at floor level actually does. I am Rue. I see small pets, and floor time or free roam sessions are one of the best things you can offer a guinea pig. They are also without question the least hazard-proofed part of most owners' entire routine. If you want safer floor time to feel as routine as feeding and cage cleaning, subscribe to the channel. The cage gets thought through carefully. The room the cage sits in almost never does. Here is the mechanism behind why this specific gap keeps happening. A cage is a bounded, deliberate space that you built on purpose, so you naturally think about what belongs inside it. A living room is a space you built for yourself for entirely different reasons over years, without a guinea pig in mind even once. Nothing in it was chosen with a curious, chewing, ground-level animal in view. That mismatch is the entire problem, and it is completely invisible until someone points it out. There is a second reason this gap is so consistent across almost every home I hear about. A guinea pig experiences a room almost entirely through its mouth and its nose, not through sight the way you do. Anything within reach gets investigated by chewing first and looking second, which means an object you would never think of as a hazard, a cord, a leaf, a stray thread, is not being looked at by the guinea pig at all. It is being tasted. That single difference in how the two of you experience the exact same room explains almost every item on the list that follows. Here is what is actually sitting in that room, category by category, and what to do about each one before the next session rather than after something goes wrong. Number 1. Electrical cords are the single most dangerous item in almost any floor time space. A guinea pig chews constantly, and a chewed live cord risks a serious burn, an electrical injury, or a house fire, not just a ruined phone charger. Cord protectors made for pets cost only a few pounds and physically block access, or you can simply route cords up and out of reach entirely for the duration of the session. Number 2. Houseplants sitting in or near the play area are an easy one to miss because most owners are thinking about what they feed on purpose rather than what happens to be growing in a pot nearby. Several common houseplants are genuinely unsafe if nibbled, and a curious guinea pig at floor level will investigate a low-hanging leaf exactly the way it investigates everything else. Moving plants out of the play zone entirely for the session is simpler than trying to identify every species in the room from memory. Number 3. Gaps behind and under furniture are where a startled guinea pig disappears to first, and it happens faster than most owners expect. A guinea pig can wedge through a surprisingly narrow gap, sometimes under 2 inches, and once behind a sofa or entertainment unit, it may stay pressed against a wall for a long time out of pure fear. Blocking these gaps with a simple barrier before the session starts is far easier than retrieving a frightened animal from behind heavy furniture afterward. Number 4. Other household pets need genuine separation, not just supervision, during floor time. Even a calm, well-behaved dog or cat is still a predator shaped to a guinea pig, and the stress of that presence alone can cause real harm, regardless of whether any actual contact happens. A fully closed door between rooms is the only reliable version of this, not simply keeping another pet on the far side of an open one. Number 5. Carpet and rug fibers are a genuine ingestion risk that most owners never consider. Guinea pigs cannot vomit, so anything swallowed that should not have been has to pass all the way through. And long synthetic fibers can cause a genuine blockage. A washable playpen mat or a large towel laid over carpet during sessions removes this risk entirely for very little cost. Number 6. Drafts and direct sunlight both affect a guinea pig far more than they affect you standing nearby. A spot near an exterior door or an old window can run noticeably colder than the rest of the room, while a patch of direct sun through glass can turn uncomfortably warm within a short time even on a mild day. Choosing a spot away from both and checking the actual floor temperature with your own hand before the session takes seconds and prevents a genuinely uncomfortable half hour. Number 7. Recently used cleaning products leave a residue that a guinea pig will walk across and then groom off its own feet. Floors mopped with a strong chemical cleaner should be given a full session or two to air out and dry completely before floor time resumes on them, even if the surface looks and feels dry already. Number 8. Small objects left on the floor, rubber bands, hair ties, coins, small toy pieces, buttons, are a choking and blockage risk that takes only a moment to walk the room and clear. A guinea pig investigates everything at ground level with its mouth first, so anything small enough to fit is a genuine candidate for a very bad afternoon. Number 9. Sessions that run too long without a water source can leave a guinea pig genuinely thirsty, since floor time is more physically active than sitting in a cage, and the animal may not think to ask to go back for water on its own. A small, shallow water dish placed in the play area, or keeping sessions to a reasonable length with a return to the cage between rounds, solves this simply. Number 10. Loud household activity during a session, a vacuum starting nearby, a door slamming, children running through the room, undoes much of the calm the session was meant to provide. Scheduling floor time for a genuinely quiet stretch of the day, rather than squeezing it into whatever gap happens to be free, makes a real difference to how relaxed the whole session actually is. Number 11. Pen barriers that look tall enough often are not, since a genuinely motivated guinea pig can push, climb partially, or squeeze under a barrier that looks perfectly secure at a glance. Checking the barrier at guinea pig height, not from where you are standing, and testing that it sits flush against the floor with no gap underneath, catches the weak points before the guinea pig does. Number 12. Baseboards and skirting boards, especially in an older home, are another surface a guinea pig will happily chew given the chance. Beyond the obvious splinter risk, older paint layers can contain substances that are genuinely unsafe to ingest. A simple barrier along any skirting board within reach removes this concern without needing to identify what the paint actually contains. Number 13. Leaving a guinea pig unattended during floor time, even for what feels like a quick moment, removes your ability to catch any of the problems above before they become a real incident. A guinea pig loose in an unsecured room for even a few unsupervised minutes can find a gap, a cord, or a small object faster than seems possible for an animal that size. Number 14. Reusing exactly the same small stretch of floor every single time rather than the whole room actually makes hazard proofing easier and more reliable, not more restrictive. A single designated play area that gets checked once and stays consistent is far safer than free roaming the entire house, since it means fewer hidden corners to think through before every session. Number 15. Slippery flooring, tile, laminate, or polished wood is easy to overlook because it does not read as dangerous the way a cord or a chemical does. A guinea pig's legs are not built for traction on a smooth surface, and a hard slip can cause a genuine leg injury, particularly during the excited running and popcorning that floor time is supposed to encourage. A large towel or a rubber-backed mat laid across any hard, smooth section solves this for the cost of something most households already own. Number 16. Space heaters, open fireplaces, and even a floor-standing fan left running nearby all belong on this list, and each for a different reason. A space heater or fireplace is an obvious burn risk if a guinea pig gets close enough, while a fan pointed directly at the play area can chill an animal far faster than the same breeze would affect you standing upright in the room. Turning heaters and fires off and redirecting any fan away from the immediate play zone removes both risks in under a minute. Number 17. Blind cords and curtain poles hang at exactly the height a guinea pig will encounter while exploring along a wall, and a determined chewer can end up with a length of cord wrapped around a leg or a neck surprisingly easily. Looping any hanging cord up out of reach or using a cord clip sold for child safety closes this gap for a cost of only a few pounds. Number 18. Seasonal decorations deserve their own mention since they show up in a room that was otherwise already checked and hazard-proofed and quietly undo that work. A Christmas tree drops sharp needles and often stands in water treated with preservative. Poinsettias and several other common seasonal plants are unsafe if nibbled. Tinsel is exactly the kind of long, thin fiber that causes the blockage risk covered earlier. Treating each new season as a reason to walk the room again, rather than assuming last month's check still holds, catches these before they become a problem. Number 19. Scented candles and essential oil diffusers running anywhere near the play area affect a guinea pig's much more sensitive respiratory system, far more than they affect yours. What smells pleasant and mild to you can be a genuine irritant at a guinea pig's level, especially over a longer session. Simply turning these off for the duration of floor time, rather than assuming distance alone is enough, is the safer default. Number 20. Shoes, slippers, and bags left on the floor near the play zone seem harmless, but the glues, treated leathers, and small decorative pieces on many of them are not things you would want investigated by mouth. It costs nothing to simply move footwear and bags out of the designated play area before a session, and it removes one more category of unknown material from the room entirely. Number 21. A closed door is not automatically a secure door, and it is worth checking properly rather than assuming. Older doors can sit with a visible gap along the bottom edge wide enough for a determined guinea pig to squeeze under, particularly in a house with worn flooring or an ill-fitting frame. A rolled towel along the base of any door leading out of the playroom closes this gap for the cost of nothing at all. Here is a 5-minute walkthrough you can actually do before tonight's session using everything above in the order it matters most. Start at floor level yourself, genuinely crouching down, since a hazard that is invisible standing up is often obvious from a guinea pig's actual eye line. Check for cords first, since they carry the most serious risk of anything on this list, and block or reroute anything within reach. Scan for houseplants and move any that are close enough to be investigated during the session. Walk the perimeter for gaps behind and under furniture and place a barrier across anything a hand cannot immediately block with a raised palm. Confirm any other household pet is behind a fully closed door, not simply in another part of an open plan room. Do a final sweep of the floor itself for small objects and lay down a washable mat or towel if the area is carpeted. Set out a small water dish if the session is going to run longer than 20 minutes or so. Check the floor surface itself last before the guinea pig ever comes out. Lay a mat or towel over anything hard or slippery and switch off any heater, fire, fan, candle, or diffuser running nearby. If it is a new season, glance around specifically for anything decorative that has appeared since the room was last checked properly. Once all of that is done, the session itself becomes what it is actually meant to be, simple enrichment and exercise rather than something requiring constant vigilance the entire time. It is also worth knowing what to actually do if, despite all of this, a guinea pig does bolt into a gap you had not accounted for. Stay calm and quiet rather than reaching in after it or calling loudly, since both respond to a frightened animal by extending the fear rather than ending it. Place a small piece of vegetable at the opening and step back a short distance, allowing the guinea pig to choose to come out toward the food on its own timeline. Most guinea pigs emerge within a few minutes once the perceived threat, meaning you looming at the gap, is no longer there. Once it finally does, that exact gap goes straight on your list to properly block before the very next session, rather than something you simply hope quietly never happens again. I do want to mention something briefly, the way I would across my own exam table, rather than as a sales pitch. I have put together a printable floor time hazard checklist covering every item above in order, so you can genuinely run through it in under 5 minutes before each session rather than trying to hold the whole list in your head. It is linked below if that would help your own routine. None of this is meant to make floor time sound frightening because it genuinely is not, once the room has been checked properly the first time. Most of these fixes are one-time changes, a cord moved, a barrier placed, a plant relocated, rather than something you have to redo from scratch every single session. Once a space has been properly checked and set up this way, most owners find the actual weekly routine takes barely any extra time at all, since the same handful of fixes simply stay in place, session after session. A guinea pig I see regularly used to disappear behind the same bookshelf every single floor time session, to the point where her owners had simply started expecting it and budgeting extra time to coax her out. They had never actually measured the gap itself, since from standing height it looked far too narrow to matter. A single piece of cut cardboard wedged into that one gap ended the problem completely, the very next session. Nothing else about their routine changed at all, and the whole fix took less time than the search for her usually had. That is really the pattern across almost everything on this list. The fix is very rarely complicated or expensive. It is simply unnoticed right up until the moment someone actually gets down and looks at the room from a guinea pig's own height instead of their own, which is precisely the habit worth building before every single session from now on. So before your guinea pig's next floor time session, spend 5 minutes crouched down at its level, walking the space the way it will actually experience it. You will very likely spot at least one thing on this list that has been sitting there the whole time waiting to be noticed, in a room you genuinely thought you already knew every corner of.